So, Rebecca, you have been talking about dreams and grief this week. Well, this whole month. You've been sharing your blog post and some of the snacks that we've been sharing, the weekly email snacks. Um, what's coming up for you? I know it's a topic that you're very, very passionate about.
It is. And I think part of the reason that I'm passionate about it is because of the experiences that I had and how
Mm,
much taking the time to process past dreams that are
right.
no longer serving us um, helped and had an impact on what I was experiencing. So, really briefly, I it this year started to have times when it felt like dreams from my past were cropping up and basically tripping me. I was laughing. I
Mhm.
was like, little ninjas coming out of nowhere. And it took me a while to realize what was happening.
Right.
So, as you and I are always talking about, awareness was a huge part of me just going, what is going on?
Right.
And so I was finding that I was having a hard time being excited about or making decisions about some of the things in my current life and
Hmm.
realize that, oh, the struggle with making decisions, this feeling tripped up, this feeling like I'm missing something is my past dreams surfacing in such a way that's it's no longer serving me. And I realized a couple of different things that they weren't serving me, that I had moved on, that I was
Hmm.
still dreaming. It's not like I'd stopped dreaming. I was
Hmm.
still dreaming. I was just
Right.
dreaming about very different things. And so I wasn't sure, well, what do I do with those dreams? Like, I've asked the question recently, where do dreams go to die? And that sounds like such a sad question. I was like,
Right. It
oh,
does.
I think I have to let them die. And I think part of what I discovered was that I didn't have to let them die, but I did
Mm,
need to grieve them
right.
so that I could actually move forward with gratitude, with thankfulness for what the dreams brought me.
Hmm.
And I think that's why I became so passionate about it, as I realized, oh, hey, when I paused and I took the time to identify the dreams, to be thankful for the amazing things that they had given me, it didn't feel bad to move forward. It
Right.
didn't feel bad to let them go. It didn't feel bad to release them and have permission to pursue the things that I'm currently pursuing now.
Right.
It felt as though I had permission. It felt as though the things that were kind of holding me back and stopping me from that forward momentum had suddenly been removed, like some of
Hmm.
those obstacles were removed.
Some of the questions that came up in my mind were around, like, what's an example of this in your own life, and especially what is the freedom that it brought you when you weren't dealing with the little ninjas running around your feet tripping you up all the time? Like, what shifted for you as you've been going through this process,
Yeah,
like with a
that's a great
specific
question.
thing, if you're comfortable sharing
Yeah,
something.
yeah. So I think, well, I'll start with the shift. When I had taken the time to actually sit with and process those past dreams that
Hmm.
were kind of tripping me up, and to grieve them, to be
Yeah.
grateful for what they had brought into my life and release them, I found that I was experiencing a lot less anxiety.
Right.
And I was experiencing some like decision freeze
Mm,
where I was just frozen. It's like I couldn't really
yeah.
be present in it couldn't be present in the dreams that I was pursuing in the here and now. And so that went away. All of a
Mm,
sudden I was released to be free and present in that. And I mean, example, the real thing that I was processing, I found myself as my partner and I are looking at where to live,
mhm.
as in like what location would we be interested in being in. There's all these different factors that play into that. But I found myself, this sounds so simple, really, really, really wanting to go be in the mountains. And there are a
Right.
lot of different reasons for that, but ultimately it was tripping me up because I
Mhm.
found that anytime we talk about being somewhere else, I just felt this intense sense of longing. I also felt like I was
Right.
missing out, and I
Mm,
couldn't figure out why I was getting so caught up in that. Because when I
yeah.
sat without those feelings, I was often saying, well, do I want to be in the mountains?
Right.
And a lot of times my answer was like, I don't know if I do. So
Mm,
why am I finding this so hard? And I realized that I had a dream from when I was a teenager of
yeah.
being a horse rancher, owning
Right.
my own, horse ranch in the mountains in like Montana or Wyoming. And I mean, I was imagining owning a valley,
Right.
kind of remote,
Yes.
right? And so this
Yeah.
dream was what was resurfacing. And it's a beautiful dream. Like my dream was to
Yeah.
have this ranch, and it was to have a safe place for people to come and recover
Mm.
from leadership burnout. So when they'd been in positions of leadership and they completely burn out, it was going to be a safe
Mm.
place for them to come, to get away, to
Yeah.
be out in nature, and just to fully recover. And I was like, wow,
It's
that's such a
really,
beautiful dream,
yeah, it is. It's really
right?
cool.
But until I paused to think about it, I didn't know that that's what was tripping me up. All I knew was like, no, I have this desperate need to go and be in the mountains.
Right.
And yet, as a woman in my 40s whose life doesn't, let's be real honest, look like what I thought it was going to look like, I don't know if I want to do that now. I was like, that's
Right.
a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
Young me was gung ho, and young me would have whooped that branch's butt. Older me is like, I mean, we could do it, and we'd have snowmobiles and snow equipment, but I was like, do I want to live
Mm,
2 to 4 hours from an easy place to get groceries? Do I
mm,
want to take on all of the effort that it would take for me to run
right.
the ranch? Because again, the original dream was me running the ranch,
Right.
right? Doing it myself. So it's okay for the dream to change, but I hadn't taken the time to actually look at it. And so
Right.
looking at it, sitting with it, grief coming in, I had so much gratitude for that. I was like, man, I love that I had such big dreams. Like that
Yeah.
was so
Yeah.
beautiful. It sounds amazing even now as I describe it, but it also allowed me to essentially update myself.
Mm,
I was like, grief and me now, and 15-year-old me sitting down in the same room, and me inviting 15-year-old me to see how much I'd grown, to see
yes.
that that dream of helping people was still alive, but in a different way, and to see that there wasn't something wrong with me, because maybe living that remotely in the mountains was no longer something that I was passionate about, that
Right.
that had changed, that the desire had shifted. And so
Yeah. So,
I,
so just
yeah.
just to be clear, you're saying that part of the dream and desire has just morphed into something slightly different for
Mhm.
this season to align
Yep.
more with your current season and
Yeah.
where you're at in life now.
Yes. And I think
Okay.
sometimes we identify dreams that aren't serving us anymore. Like when I was 5 years old, I wanted to be a ballerina.
Yeah.
And there is no part of me that wants to be a ballerina anymore. Like
Yeah.
that is a beautiful thing. I see it, I'm like, that's awesome. Like I would be a terrible ballerina. That's okay. Right. So that one not only doesn't serve me, but there's
Mhm.
no part of me that wants to incorporate that into my life. Um, but the ranch and, creating a safe place for people to recover from leadership burnout, like a
Mhm.
desire to
Mhm.
help people, that's still there.
Right.
So I think there are some dreams that we grieve and release,
Yeah.
and it's a genuine, just letting go of. Although I
Right.
will say, because I did the same process with the 5-year-old who wanted to be a ballerina, and I realized that part of what I was getting out of that process was an appreciation for the fact that I enjoy dancing, and
Right.
a 5-year-old's love of the fact that who cares what I look like when I dance.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
felt like I got a little bit of
Yes.
freedom out of that.
I
Like I'm
love that.
allowed to just go do that, and it doesn't
Right.
matter if I look silly. Um, but then with the 15-year-old, it was me processing the fact that some of that dream is still alive. It just looks different, and being not just okay with
Mm.
it, but excited about it again, and
Right.
embracing the fact that I could help people recover from leadership burnout, or just
Right.
recover from grief, from pain, from carrying something heavy, and it could look different and still be fulfilled and achieved as a dream. And that I
Right.
I, I don't have to live, really remotely if that's not
Mhm.
something that I was passionate about anymore.
Right.
So I don't know if that's answered the question.
No, I think it does. It also sparks in my mind, this is how it sounds to me. It sounds like when you allowed yourself to grieve the fact that that dream didn't happen, and then you allowed that gratitude to come in for what the dream brought you in the season that it was in, just having the dream, even though the dream didn't reach fruition the way that you had hoped at one point, that is actually releasing energy back to your system, back to where you're at now, further enabling, and I know this is probably sound cliche because we say this all the time, but to live present, to live fully present, it
Yes.
actually is releasing you to live more present with yourself
Yes.
in the current season, in the current thing, especially as you're making various decisions.
Yeah. And you asked me, how did that impact you moving forward? And again, just to
Yeah.
reiterate that the outcome of that was less anxiety. And I
Yes.
wasn't experienced, like I was frozen in making certain decisions and even
Right.
processing them because there was
Right.
fear there. So I was no longer experiencing anxiety. I wasn't experiencing the fear.
Mhm.
And it felt easier to look at, okay, what do we want in a location? I was no longer,
Yes.
there was almost a sense of panic that would come up. because there was a fear of missing out on
Yeah.
something that I had dreamt about when I was younger.
Yeah.
All of that was gone. And so I
Right.
felt
Wow.
peaceful. Ergo, I was much more present in making that decision because I was making
Right.
it in here and now, with the dreams that I have here and now being allowed to, have a say.
Yeah.
Well, what do I want? How
Mhm.
close do I want to be to a grocery store? The
Right.
small ridiculous practical things of life that, you know,
Yeah, that matter more to us now than when we were in our late teens and 20s or whatever,
yes.
and I think it's interesting because it brings up the idea of growth for me. Like, you and I are very passionate about growth of any kind, like growing forward, and that idea of, like, let my dreams grow with me and let them shift as they're growing with me, and the awareness of, we may not have even realized we had a dream that was there, and we're holding on to, some part of us is holding on to it's
Mm-hmm.
still looking exactly like this in this little box, and then being able to mourn that and appreciate the beauty of, what did it look like to have that dream when you were that age. I think dreaming is very important for us to have these desires and things, and then
Yeah.
with weird acceptance of, I didn't do that thing,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean I'm a failure just because I didn't do that thing. So I think
Yeah.
there's like multiple layers of that where you're grieving that and you're bringing that gratitude to it, and
Mm-hmm.
being, when you were talking to me about this earlier, made me think of Marie Kondo, when she does the, like, helping people clear out their homes and let go of
Right.
things, and it makes me think about, it feels weird to say thank you to a shirt, and yet when I have done that, I'm able to let go of a shirt that I'm like, I don't wear this anymore.
Yeah.
But maybe there's some association with it that was beautiful or something that I liked, and I can let it go in a way that I couldn't before or as easily. And it's like, it's bringing healing to my internal system, and moving that. And so all of this to me ties
Yeah.
into, okay, we're taking that thing and then we're saying, here I am now in
Mm-hmm.
this moment, in this season. What does that same passion look like here? And I think that ties back into core values. So the things that I really value, like boiling it down,
Mm-hmm.
you really value helping people, especially people who've faced hard things. That hasn't changed. That never went
Right.
away. But maybe the outward manifestation, and that's not even the best word for it, but just like,
Maybe the ways in which you're going to achieve that thing that
yes,
you're passionate about
those
have changed.
those have maybe shifted and adapted to where you're at now, and that's okay. And you have taken the time to be with yourself, s-
Yeah.
so that that could be okay. And even
It's
the little
not just
ballerina,
okay. It's not just okay. It
right?
is it is actually, in my personal opinion, the way that it is supposed to be, because
Yes,
we are constantly becoming. We are not the person that we were years
yeah,
ago, which
no,
means our dreams kind of have to shift and change with us, and that's a
right.
really beautiful thing. It doesn't
Very
have to be
healthy.
something where we let go of it and it's lost and it
Hmm.
dies. It can be a
Yeah,
thing where you get to release it in the wild and it gets to be something beautiful, and you get to continue to live
yeah. It.
live out the dream either in a new way, a different way, or if you're not going to live
Hmm.
out the dream, like I'm not going to live out the dream of being a ballerina, to be
Yeah.
really peaceful about that and still enjoy and appreciate dance, or
Yes.
have the 5-year old's childlike wonder and awe and excitement that dance could be something beautiful.
Yeah. Well, and I love that because, like, in both things, the nugget, the gold nugget that was inside the dream has continued.
Right.
Like, the gold nugget of not worrying about what other people think and just dancing and having fun and enjoying yourself and liking what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's powerful. Or, hey, I really want to continue to help people. That's going to look different because I don't want to drive 4 hours to the grocery store,
Yeah.
or, whatever it is. I think that's beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing with us. That's
Yes.
great.